This is Jasper.
Hi, I'm Benedict Pordon.
And this is Buzzline Conversations. So, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, Jasper, for this day we're going to talk about something very important for us, which is religion.
Religion. So, what specifically about religion are we going to talk about?
Well, for a brief introduction, like here in the Philippines, we belong, or our country has a majority, or majority of the people belong to the Roman Catholic Church. However,
However, I think it's that even though we are, like Roman Catholic, and we are considered, a lot of us are considered as Roman Catholic, we are still free enough to join other religious practices, and like we are, we have the freedom to. Even the Catholic Church is open to this. We have the freedom to, join, not exactly
Not
join,
really
but participate in other religious practices with other denominations.
yes, some churches, such as the Catholic Church, or some other religions, such as born again, they allow some of their participants or some of their members to explore different religions. However, this introduces us to the idea of religious pluralism. And religious pluralism is an idea in which every church or every religion out there is equally true.
Oh, okay. And do you think that, that this religious pluralism, as we say, is a kind of, is a kind of idea wherein where it aims to prove that people are, this kind of idea is inclusive to everyone,
Yes. So when it comes to religious pluralism, parang ito yung sinasabi na kahit yung mga Roman Catholic, yung mga Katoliko, nakikita pa rin natin sila nagpa-participate minsan or sumasama dun sa iba nilang kapamilya na born again yung religion. Nagpa-participate sila sa Sunday service ng born again. O di naman kaya yung iba minsan, yung born again na Christians, nagpa-participate naman sa Mass na Roman Catholic. And so this is clearly an evident idea here in the Philippines na mayroong religious pluralism na nangyayari, even though that some of us are not very much aware of it.
But do you think religious pluralism is, a way to unify the beliefs of the people? Because religious contrasts and battles and ideas have often been have often hit the spotlight. Sometimes it's kind of funny when you watch debates about Brother Eli Soriano.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's funny. I'm just saying that's the wrong word. It's it's eye-opening, as I would say.
And somehow it amuses people on the debates that they have gone to.
It's kind of like, because I'm a Roman Catholic, and when you watch certain speeches about this is a religious leader, it's kind of interesting to have that. When you see them, they have this different style in
discussing
the words of the Lord, and it's kind of also interesting because it kind of opens up your mind that there is also other ways in which we can prove our faith to God.
Yes.
And when it comes to religious pluralism, do you think that we should push through it?
There are people out there who say that religious pluralism is an opportunity for people to be united. Why? Kasi nga katulad nung sinabi mo, religious pluralism, it allows people to explore other religions beyond to their current one. So for example, kung ikaw Katoliko ka, hindi ka lang basta na nagiging stagnant dun sa religion na nakasanayan mo. So you have the opportunity, you have the initiative to explore other religions para makita mo kung ano yung ginagawa nila nakakaiba, kung ano yung difference no Catholic and then yung born again o kaya ng Iglesia ng Cristo, di naman kaya no dating daan. So, however, on the other side, makikita din natin na somehow yung religious pluralism, it somehow affects the very teachings of some churches. For example, the Protestants or the Orthodox Church, they believe in absolute truth. And when we say in absolute truth, ito yung paniniwala na mayroong isang katotohanan na there is only somehow one religion and there is no salvation outside
That certain religion.
that certain religion.
Okay.
So somehow there is a disadvantage and advantage when it comes to religious pluralism.
Okay.
Mm.
I do get that. But then, let me ask you this. What if atheism is not considered as a religion, right?
No, it is
Yeah.
not.
But what do we call people who are, there's like a lot of this. Like, what do you call people who are, part of a certain religious group, but they refuse to join that? Like, they're only that certain religious, they're only that certain religion on paper.
Yeah, for legal means
Yeah,
only.
yeah.
For example, marami kasi, like, sabi nga namin kanina, maraming mga tao sa Pilipinas ang kasama sa Catholic Church. Pero yung karamihan doon, or yung iba siguro, some people, ay like, they are just Catholic not by nominal. They're just Catholic by document. Hindi talaga sila na active participant ng church. So, parang nakikita natin dito kasi is parang yung idea ng religion nagiging parang pang legal documents na lang.
Okay, yeah, that's also kind of funny.
Parang nagiging parang pagka pinangalan ako sa Pilipinas, default na agad Roman Catholic yung nangyayari.
Yeah, that's really common today. But I think that religion, in my opinion, I guess a lot of people might dissent from this opinion, but I think that religion is not the basis of faith. People have different ways of showing our faith to God, and that's our uniqueness and peculiarity when it comes to showing our faith to God, our love for God, is almost always unique to everyone. Some people pray 10 times a day, some 5, some don't even pray, and yet still there are people who
they're still spiritually connected.
Yeah, they're still spiritually
so, kumbaga,
connected.
may iba-iba talagang paraan yung mga tao ng connection with God.
And that's beside the issue of religion as well, because people practices different types. People have different habits. Also, these habits are different for everyone, especially when it comes to showing our faith to God. But then again, let me ask you this: there are a lot of people who join religious, organizations, religious groups, and yet still there are some. I'm not saying, of course, it's not all, and I'm sure that probably a majority of these people are good. But then again, there are some people that, despite all the religious organizations and actions that they are doing, they are still somehow not connected to God. The teachings of the church are not practiced in real life.
So, hindi pa sinasabi mo, Jasper, is even though na mayroong mga tao talagang active naman sa simbahan, active naman sa particular religion nila, nasa Sunday service sila, or whatever you call it, hindi nagre-reflect dun sa mga ginagawa nila. It's like, actions speak louder than words.
Because, a lot of people, diba, like, as Jesus said, is that we should love our brothers and sisters as we love ourselves, diba? Love God above all, and we should love everyone. We should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But then again, there are a lot of people, religious ones, who do not only ostracize certain groups of the country, certain social groups, specifically the LGBTQIA+ community, but there are like a lot of religious people who are for death penalty. And
so it's actually contradictory to the belief that they are following in their religion.
Yes, because the very idea of religion is salvation.
Yeah, it's like the idea that no person is ever beyond change.
Yes, and
that we can make a difference without ourselves, that we can change for the better despite everything that we have done.
Yes, and
I think that is
forgiveness. But then again, do we have the right to kill people? Because as I was taught, and as I learned from the words of God, is that is that we should always offer forgiveness. And it's not just that, is that we should be wary of what we believe in, and we should always practice, at least try to practice what God says, what God commands us.
But I think this is just an effect, no, doon sa sinasabi mo nga na bakit may mga Catholic na sumasang-ayon naman sa death penalty even though that it is somehow contradictory sa mismong teachings ng Catholic Church. Kung bakit naman yung ibang yung ibang religion na supposed to be dapat nagtiteach ng forgiveness ay hindi masyado nag-exercise ng forgiveness. I think this somehow is the result of individual interpretations.
Okay.
Kasi kahit sabihin natin kasing ang isang tao, he or she belongs to a certain religion. Ang nangyayari sa Pilipinas kasi, sa mga Filipino, madalas kasi tayo, sarili interpretation. So, because of self-interpretation, nagkakaroon tayo ng difference when it comes to the actual teaching ng religion. So, kaya di ba nakikita natin, mayroong Catholic na gusto yung EJK, gusto yung death penalty, even though it is actually against to the teaching of the religion in itself. Pero hindi lang sa Catholic to there are also some born-agains na gusto din ng EJK, na gusto din ng death penalty, even though na against yon sa naman nila, sa teachings din nila.
But then again, let me ask you this. How confusing are the words of God when He said that we should love neighbors as we love ourselves? How is this so confusing for other people? When Jesus said that we should love people as we love ourselves, is that even confusing?
For example nga doon sa sinasabi kong certain factors na nakaka-affect doon sa paniniwala ng isang tao is yung kung paano siya pinalaki, yung mga experiences niya. For example, si person A, alam niya yung phrase o yung teaching na we should love our neighbors. As simple as that. Kaso nga lang, there are certain other factors like what? Yung experience niya. Baka mamaya naman, ginawa na niya dati yon pero hindi naman nabalik sa kanya. It was not reciprocated. Pangalawa, pwede namang maaaring naniniwala siya sa ibang teachings ng religion niya except for that particular one. Or pwede din naman na na nakakalimutan din niya, or there's a lot of factors out there. But in the end, we can actually say that when it comes to religion, like what you said earlier, it's all about forgiveness. It's all about the idea that no man is ever beyond the idea of change, that we can always change for the better, despite our sins, despite our mistakes and all. That is what most religions out there offers the people, forgiveness and salvation.
Because maybe even though I think no matter what religion you have, it's not about which religion is right. It's always about being good to one another. It's loving one another. That's, I think, isn't that like part of what religion actually is? It kind of like pushes us to love each other.
Yeah. So kung babalik nga tayo dun sa idea ng religious plurality, in which all religions are somehow equally true. So, yung idea na yun, nagbibigay sa atin ng opportunity of inclusivity for everyone. That every individual has the right to exercise the idea of exploration to other religions, and not just be stagnant with the religion that he was accustomed to.
Yeah, and
so,
I think,
ayun nga, meron din tayong disadvantage kasi yung somehow yung religious pluralism nakaka-affect din dun sa pinaka-main teachings ng some churches.
But I guess religious pluralism somehow brings us hope. Is that, it brings us hope in the sense that despite the differences in beliefs and differences in the ways we show our faith, it is that we still come up with the idea that, maybe I'm wrong. It gives us this sort of humility and this sort of hope that maybe there are also other ways in which I can show my love to my God,
In different ways.
Yeah, in different ways. And that's for me is really wonderful. And more than that, it's eye-opening. It allows me to see what's beyond what I know. It's somehow like I get to know what I don't know that I didn't know like you get it.
Sige.
Like
medyo
sorry, medyo magulo siya. So it's kind of like knowing what you didn't know that you didn't know. Yung nalalaman mo kung ano yung hindi mo alam na hindi mo pala alam.
Okay, medyo confusing.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
But in my ano man,
Yeah, sorry.
in my explanation naman, if I could sum it up, like what my grandmother said. One of my grandmother is actually Roman Catholic by legal documents, by nakalagay sa birth certificate and all na Roman Catholic siya. But actually right now, she is actually practicing born again Christian. And I asked her, why are you somehow, bakit nagbo-born again Christian ka pa rin, sumasama ka sa mga Sunday service, pero minsan sumasama ka rin sa mga practices na Roman Catholic, like yung pagsisimba, simbang gabi nga,
yes.
pupunta pa rin siya. And what she told me is this, wala naman daw kasi parang pinagkaiba yung dalawa, dahil parang iisa lang din naman yung Diyos. Okay. And this actually an evidence to the phenomena that is actually happening in the Filipino culture, which is religious plurality. And that is the phenomenon that many of us should be aware to. Kasi nangyayari na to dun sa paligid natin eh. Hindi lang natin alam yung tawag. Pero nangyayari na siya.
Actually, I'm new to that. I'm new to that term.
Religious pluralism. So, in the bottom line for this is that no matter what religion or...
we should always keep an open mind. And always remember that the sense of religion is not to prove that we're right. It's not to prove that what we believe is correct. It's always about what we show and that we reflect the teachings of what our religion tells us. Is that the very foundation of religion itself, the very foundations of beliefs, is always goodness.
Yes.
They're concerned with what is good for everyone.
Yes.
Not just not just for many, not just for some, but for everyone, inclusive of everything and everyone. And I think that's that idea of religion, despite different ways of proving it and different ways of interpreting it, is in itself really, really wonderful.
Yes, and in the end nga, whether you are Iglesia ni Cristo, INC, Dating Daan, or Jesus is Lord, born again Christian, Roman Catholic, all of those things somehow,
Muslims.
what they have in common is this. What they have in common sa teachings nila is this: love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yes.
And you can see that in the Muslim teaching. They also have that kind of phrase.
Even
But of course in
Confucianism.
different in different sentences, but still the idea is still there. In the born again Christian, nandun pa rin yung love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Same thing with Confucius or with Confucianism. Do not do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you. So it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, the principle is still there. The value, is still there. So in the end, you just have to be good, and not if you cannot respect other religion, at least acknowledge it.
I think it's that if you cannot respect other religion, is that why you're here?
I mean,
we should respect it.
Yeah, respect.
But forcing ourselves to believe in it is another issue.
Well, I mean, for me, kasi yung respect is like tolerating it, even though the religion is already doing something bad. So I mean,
that's a different issue in itself.
Yeah, that's a different issue.
But if we're talking about the goodness itself, is that you should respect everyone's beliefs.
Yes.
No matter.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, so I think that's it. And I'm Jasper Amadeo.
And I'm Benedict Prodon.
And this has been Buzzline Conversations.